All right, that's where I want to bring in our political panel. First, we have senior policy analyst at the Independent Women's Forum, our good friend, Newsmax contributor, Patrice Onwuka, and another good friend of the show. We haven't seen you in a while.
How you doing?
Political commentator and Newsmax insider, Clarence McKee, here on set with me. Great to see you. You know, Patrice, I do think there was one thing that I just read that's true. This is probably the hardest Nancy Pelosi's worked in decades.
Oh, yeah, it is. I mean, when you consider she's trying to stave off the AOC, Ilhan Omar wing of the party, Rashida Tlaib wing of the party, plus hold the line on those who are much more, apparently the majority who are much more moderate and better reasoned, she does have to try to figure out how to wrangle all of those kittens together. And then add on to this immigration and the border crisis. Now she recognizes Democrats are really in a pickle. They are in a bind in trying to figure out how do they support their we hate ICE. We will not support ICE deportations or any of the good work that ICE does, recognizing, though, that there is a humanitarian crisis and a national security crisis at our border. So, yeah, she's got a lot on her plate.
You know, Clarence, what do the Dems do when they've got a guy like Bernie Sanders? Now, Nancy Pelosi took a step. Well, a change in status, a violation of status isn't enough to be deported. Then Bernie Sanders takes a leap too far and says, even if you committed other crimes in the U.S., you shouldn't be deported. You can't sell that to the American people.
23% of the United States people in this country, new Gallup poll, 23% said immigration is the number one problem.
I saw that.
So what do you have? You have the Democrats and Pelosi supporting lawbreakers. Now, if you're an American citizen, you have an order from a judge, and you disobey it, they come knocking at your door.
They come get you for your warrant.
Separated,
yep.
right?
Yep.
So it's a very disgraceful what they're doing. They're just pandering. They don't care about those kids. The kids are the pawns in this game. Yeah. Now, if they don't get this bill out, or if the president says we're not going to have it, and he vetoes it, I would call him back from the little July recess, as they call it, and say, come back and get this done. They're the ones who keep complaining about the poor kids, and they're the ones who won't write the check, playing games with people's lives at stake.
Yeah, I agree. You know, Patrice, Clarence makes a great point. It's as if the Democrats want to give rights to illegals they don't give to American citizens. He's 100% correct. If you don't answer your traffic ticket, they come knock on your door, or next time you get pulled over, you're put in handcuffs and brought back to court. But they don't want the same treatment for illegal aliens.
Exactly.
The Democrats don't.
No, they don't. They want to give illegal aliens driver's licenses in many states. They want to ensure that the children are getting to go to school, full funding for higher education. I think it's an interesting list. Welfare benefits. I think if they could federally, if they were not prohibited from that, they would do that. And some states are finding really fun ways of providing free health care for certain illegal immigrants, like in California. This is really just a long-term political play. They feel like this is a potential voting demographic that they're willing to bet on, and that bet is losing more moderate, regular Americans who look at this and say this is absolutely unbelievable. You wouldn't go to another country and expect to receive all of the same benefits as someone who's there illegally compared to here in the United States. I'm speaking as a naturalized citizen who came to this country through the legal channels, whose family applied legally, did it the right way. I have family members who are 14 years waiting in line to be able to come here legally. And Democrats are saying, oh, too bad for you. But their priority is really for those people who are willing to flout the law, break the law, come here, and then frankly, take some advantage of our system.
You know, I think we're going to hear more of this because tomorrow night the Democratic debates start down in South Florida. Now, the debate's going to take place in Miami tomorrow night and Thursday night. 20 candidates, 24 in the race right now, 20 qualified to be on the stage over 2 nights. So the first night has Cory Booker, Julian Castro, Bill de Blasio, John Delaney, Tulsi Gabbard, Jay Inslee, Amy Klobuchar, Beto O'Rourke, Tim Ryan, and Elizabeth Warren. Except for Gabbard, it's like the old Soviet Politburo.
Clown college.
Now, on the second night, it features Joe Biden, Michael Bennet, Pete Buttigieg, Kirsten Gillibrand, Kamala Harris, John Hickenlooper, Bernie Sanders, Eric Swalwell, Marianne Williamson, and Andrew Yang. So, Patrice, is this going to be, and Clarence to you as well, who can out left-wing each other? Is this going to be who can out radical each other on that stage?
Oh yeah, I mean the first night, I think you're going to see Elizabeth Warren really show that she's at the kiddie table and she should be at the big main stage table instead. And I think you'll see her shine with her policy proposals, which I don't agree with, but certainly she's the one who's the thinker here. So you're going to see a far pivot to the left, and also you're going to see people proving how quote unquote woke or down with the black vote they are by everything from reparations to police brutality. So you're going to hear a lot about that as well.
What do you say about that, Clarence?
I call it PPP, pandering, promises, and platitudes. First of all, here's a crowd of people who really don't stand for anything.
Yeah,
they're like a lost ball in a bunch of weeds. So the question's going to be, who is going to come up being the last standing? Warren tomorrow night, if she doesn't come out of there being good, she's kind of finished. She's got to deal with, Sanders the next night and Biden the next night. She's got to do better. If all these others in the background, the Kamala Harrises and the Buttigieg, what's his name? Buttigieg, the mayor.
Right.
And
Mayor
O'Rourke,
Pete, South Bend.
the other wannabes.
Yeah.
They have to come through. And the other thing,
Let me ask you this. This is for both of you. Does this also become a sniper's nest at Joe Biden? Do they all start taking shots at Biden to try to knock him out of the top spot?
well, listen, they should. He has never had to take a hard question. You got China Joe. That's an issue. You've got his stuff on
Ukraine Joe.
on the segregationists, which to me is
Segregationist
not
Joe.
an issue. Let's see if they will come and criticize him to his face.
What do you think, Patrice? Do they start sniping Joe Biden? Do they start trying to knock him off his perch?
I think you're going to see a balance. You'll see some of that hitting at him, but they also have to provide contrast between themselves. Bernie Sanders, for example, has to prove how he's the originator or the original socialist in the group, and how a lot of his own ideas have been usurped by others. So you're going to see them also try to play off each other and prove, how one is more better for women, or one or another is better for black people. So I think you'll see a good balance of both going after Joe and going after each other.
Who do you think emerges as the big winner tomorrow night? Same question to both of you in the minute and a half we have left.
I think the top three.
Who do you think?
Oh, gosh. I think Warren, unfortunately, will come off looking pretty good because Sanders is just, they forget one thing. They're in Miami, Florida. It's not New York City. So the left-wing anti-establishment issues that they spout around the country.
Yeah, it's true.
You have
They're not in their bubble.
Castro, people who left Cuba, people who support the old Venezuelan democracy. You can't come down here and be left-wing and come out looking well. So I think they're going to have to moderate a little bit. But we'll see.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Patrice, what do you think? Who comes out the winners here, top three?
Oh, yeah. Elizabeth Warren, number one tomorrow night, and then Tuesday, the next night, I think you might see Senator Harris pull a surprise and really impress folks, and then I think Senator Bernie Sanders, he's going to still be a favorite.
Yeah, I think that Sanders is the one guy who's still ginning up enthusiasm among his very far left base. The rest are kind of milquetoast. Warren and Biden to me are just too milquetoast.
Yes.
To really, and Eric Swalwell, can't believe this guy's in it.
They're all wimps.
Here for the amusement value. Patrice, Clarence, great to see you both. Always a pleasure to have you. Thanks so much.
Good to see you too.